let's get into the comic book reviews for the week, man. So great week for comic books. We got Absolute Batman number 18, Bleeding Hearts number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 16, Transformers number 30, and I'll explain why I'm dropping the Transformers series, so definitely stay tuned for that. We got Excellent Indies continuing like Die Loaded number 5, and then new number 1 from IDW Dark with the Exorcism at Buckingham Palace. But let's start off with this Absolute Batman number 18, right? So this was excellent. This was the conclusion to this 2-issue Poison Ivy little mini arc, and we see Batman still dealing with Poison Ivy. She's very powerful in this series. We also got some little tidbits on Martha Wayne and kind of her relationship to the Court of Owls. I found that to be very intriguing, very interesting. That should be pretty fun to get into in the future for the series. Great stuff. This guest artist I thought was excellent. Get Eric Canet back whenever you need to. Whenever Nick Dragotta needs a break, get this artist, because I think this was some excellent stuff. Just some great monster, like body horror type elements that we have seen in the series quite often, but put to great effect here from Eric Canet. And we see just the throwdown between Batman trying to, not get overpowered by this Poison Ivy, trying to get into his brain, trying to control him. If the mask falls down, Batman will be sort of mind controlled. And we get some sort of intrigue on what's going with the rest of Gotham City as they're getting more invested in the Batman character, and they see him more as a symbol of hope, something that this Bruce Wayne, this version of Batman didn't quite see coming. He gets some help from Barbara Gordon. Very cool seeing her take a bigger kind of role in the series. I kind of want to see that expanded. And then, she provides Bruce with the weapon to essentially defeat Poison Ivy. And there's this moment where Batman's confronted with a question, right? He's like, if I do this, it's going to mark me going down this path. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get back, and I don't know if it's the right path. He's getting some advice from Jim Gordon as well, right? He decides to do it. It's something that it's kind of the most evil thing we've seen this version of Absolute Batman do. Just like kind of cruel, right? Like he makes this deal with Poison Ivy, but he sort of reneges on the deal, and it's pretty interesting to see. There's also this little bit about like what's going on with Martha. What's going on with Bruce's mom, dude? So we'll have to see in the next issue. And we know that in the series for the future, we're getting some Scarecrow stuff as well, right? So very excited about that. Absolute Batman is a must-pull series. Excellent stuff there as well. Let's talk about Bleeding Hearts number 2. So I've been loving this series so far. I thought issue number 1 might be in the running for issue of the year, like issue 1 of the year so far. But in this one, we get a behind-the-scenes sort of a behind the scenes look at this woman and her kid, Rabbit. We get the story on them, sort of how they've been surviving in this post-apocalyptic, wasteland so far with all the zombies, kind of all of the sort of situations that they were in beforehand, the loss of the father, right? And we see that she's just on her own trying to take care of her daughter. But we get some intrigue here as we see Poke, the zombie from the first issue. He is trying to take care of this woman and this girl, providing them with supplies and stuff like that. So and man, I gotta say, this issue might have been better than issue 1, which is pretty insane because I loved issue 1. But like the heart in this series is here, like immediately from the start. This relationship, it's like the classic, like if you played the Walking Dead game, right? You got that Clementine kind of relationship. If you played The Last of Us, of course, you got that Ellie. Sort of like that older figure trying to take care of this person in the post-apocalypse. Like how do you do it? How do you provide for them? How do you keep their innocence kind of in this like brutal and dark world? And just this bit of Poke trying to take care of, and hey, I found this kid's bunny, and it's like, yo, that's a zombie, bro. That's not how zombies are supposed to work. So as we see in the very end, it looks like potentially the zombie's going for the kid. The kid's named Rabbit, by the way, so really cute there. But then I think he's friendly, so we'll have to see kind of how this relationship evolves, if Poke and the woman and Rabbit are going to go together on this adventure or something. I don't know. But it's obvious that Poke is unlike other zombies, and excellent artwork too, I do want to mention, from Stepan Morin and Matt Hollingsworth. I just got to say, man, this is like a must-pull series at this point. Some excellent stuff from Dennis Camp. Talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 16. As you can see on the cover, we got this Ujigami character. Spoiler alert, alright, it's Splinter, alright? So Splinter's back, and he's taking up this Ujigami character, and he's trying to go after anyone that poses to be a threat for his sons, for the turtles, he's trying to take them out. So he's going after all the turtle enemies. But in this issue though, Casey Jones, right? So Ujigami is trying to kill Casey Jones and the rest of the turtles have to stop him. So this was like an interesting moment here. Let me get to right here. All right, so you get a throwdown between Splinter and the turtles. Very interesting dynamics here from Jin Lewin Yang on the writing. And then look at the art, man. The use of colors from Andrew Dahlhaus, I believe. Yeah, Andrew Dahlhaus killing it on the colors. The Freddie Williams look for the turtles is so perfect. Like, I love the Juan Ferrara stuff, right? Don't get me wrong, but this is a great replacement. I think this is matching the vibe perfectly for the turtles. We got great action here as Splinter, he proves that, yo, who's the master, guys? It's Master Splinter, all right? He's gonna kick your ass, and he's just wiping the floor with the turtles, man. So that was pretty cool to see. But the turtles, they work together and they get one up on them. We get this interesting sort of alternate universe, kind of as if the turtles, it's like before they were reincarnated as the turtles, them living in feudal Japan with their mom, right? So just the life that they could have been living, I guess. And yeah, man, I'm just loving all these bits from Jin Lewin Yang and Freddie E. Williams. We see the villains of the story are trying to sort of control Splinter's Ujigami powers, maybe like open up a portal or something like that. And so the turtles have got to stop them, and I think that's where we end with this issue. Yeah, right here. So the turtles are about to approach the building with the light, trying to open the portal or whatever. But yeah, man, I gotta say, this is a great first arc of this new era of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If Jin Lewin Yang and Freddie Williams are able to go for, you know, like 40 issues plus, man, like we're gonna be eating so good. I am so happy I added this Turtle series to my pull list, and I think it's got a permanent spot on the pull list if this creative team is on it. A couple more comic book reviews like Transformers number 30, man. So I think I'm dropping the series after this, man. So we have Dan Mora leaving the title. We have some other artists coming in, but honestly, it's more than that. It's just like, I don't know, like in the last issue, we had this big battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. I was saying, if you guys go back and watch the review, I was kind of dissing Dan Mora on the art, man. I thought it was way too busy. I just couldn't tell where Autobots and Decepticons began. It was just like a bunch of mash and metal. It reminded me of the Transformers movies, the Michael Bay stuff, where I'm just like, what am I even looking at on the screen, right? So, in my opinion, some of the Transformers stuff from Dan Mora was a little bit messy. But even more than that, man, I just think that like the pacing of this arc, right? Like, so ever since Daniel Warren Johnson left the title, we've been doing 6 issues of the Robert Kirkman stuff, right? And it's like, what's happened? Honestly, what's happened? This issue had the most kind of progression for the story, but like I feel like last issue there was that big fight, but even before that it was like 4 issues of like almost nothing, right? And then we get some movement. There's some change up to the hierarchy of the Autobots. Some members are leaving the Autobot group, and it's like, okay, that's interesting there. But yeah, I think overall there's not enough hooking me. There's not enough keeping me engaged here, especially with Dan Mora leaving the title. That was a big draw for me. So yeah, that's why I'm dropping Transformers number 30. If you think that's crazy, let me know down in the comments why you think that's crazy. I'm going to be reading it digitally though. I guess there was some confusion on that. I get this free with my library, or it's potentially up on Global Comics as well. So I'll be able to read the Transformers title for sure, just not picking it up physically, not picking it up in single issues. Real quick, let's talk about Die Loaded number 5. Kieran Gillen, Stephanie Hans continue their fun Die series, man. And this one was probably the best issue of the series returning, like this new volume. So the group splits up a little bit. Our main character, Sophie, she's the Godbinder in this arc, this volume. She's kind of going on this quest to find another member of the group. And it turns out another member is the character from the first volume's daughter. So Chuck, if you remember, he was the fool from the last volume. His daughter is kind of the one that's responsible for bringing in this new group into the world of Die. She didn't want to necessarily, but she wanted some closure with her dad, essentially, right? So that's kind of why she did it. And we get this interesting bit. Chuck returns from the first volume. So this is a big moment if you've read the first volume. We thought he was kind of gone for good. There was like some little bits that he might return, but we finally see him returning here. And then we get this great sequence here, man. Look at this great sequence from Stephanie Hans, bro. like the actual maze. Like I actually went through and like it's a legit maze, like it's legit. And yeah, this was like one of the best sequences of the year so far. I thought this was some really great stuff, as we see kind of the explanation for why she did what she did, and then she turns the tables and she kind of betrays her dad even, right? And then we just are set up for some really interesting story beats as we got the party is finally starting to come together, and I'm just hoping we get to explore more of the world of Die. It's some great fantasy stuff. I just think that there's no other series like it. Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans are just doing incredible stuff over here, and I feel like most people are missing out on it. I get it though, because you need to read that first volume or else none of this makes sense. But yeah, for those who have read Die, for those who have caught up, Die Loaded is a must return to the world of Die. I think it's so good. And then last but not least, the last comic book review for today. Let's talk about the issue number 1 from IDW Dark, The Exorcism at Buckingham Palace. Now this is a follow-up to The Exorcism at 1600 Penn. That was a horror series maybe last year or maybe the year before, I can't remember, but that was some great stuff. So essentially, there was an exorcism at the White House. One of the president's daughters was possessed by a demon. That was kind of the draw for the series. In this one though, so the royal family, the next people in line, they're on this cruise, and the cruise goes down, and there's kind of a mystery about how the cruise went down. Was it an attack on another nation, or did they just go down at sea? And so the line of succession is all messed up, and essentially they have this guy coming in. It's like, hey dude, you're the next in line, and he was kind of the fuck up of the family. He's the black sheep. He's had some problems with addiction and stuff like that, and so he doesn't necessarily want to be the next in line, but it turns out the current king, he has cancer, right? So he's about to die, and they need another person, or else they're just gonna have no one in line to the throne. So you got that interesting kind of intrigue there, and the whole idea about it is like this curse, this family curse. If you're in the royal family, it's called like the Belmont curse or whatever it's called, and then you get some little bits all throughout the art as we see like some darkness. Like there's someone following them, and it's kind of like a metaphor for addiction. As we see our main character here, he's struggling with addiction from his past, and it's kind of like the shadow of the throne, or the shadow of this idea of succession, and this idea of duty, right? And it's always kind of following him all throughout his life. And it gets more and more dark as we see like the full transformation at the end of this issue. It's kind of wordy, I will say, but I thought it was great setup from Hannah Rose May on the writing. But let me just show you this, right? So yeah, we're getting dark with this artwork, man. So kind of like this Cthulhu, otherworldly presence kind of vibe, and potentially our main character, the guy who's next in line for succession, maybe he's getting possessed, right? So some interesting bits here. But those are the comic books that I wanted to talk about for this week, man. So excellent stuff with The Exorcism at Buckingham Palace. Die Loaded continues to be awesome. Transformers, the last Transformers I'll ever be picking up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just itching that nostalgic, I've had this kind of need for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in my life, and this is definitely filling that void. Bleeding Hearts continues to be an amazing series out of Vertigo. And then last but not least, of course, we got Absolute Batman, the end of the Poison Ivy arc. Excellent stuff there. But yeah, great week for comic books. Let me know down in the comments what you enjoyed reading, and while you're down there, like if you like, sub if you love, and if you really love it, you can hype it. Really appreciate it. I'll catch you next week for some more comic book reviews. For those that don't know, New Comic Book Weekly is a live show that I do every single Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We go over the week's pull list, we go over the previous week's comic book reviews, and we do a big topic. I don't even know what the big topic is before I start recording sometimes. I decide like an hour prior to. But yeah, that's New Comic Book Weekly. Again, that's 4 p.m. Eastern every single Monday. Hope to see you guys live.